In the deep valley of a rolling hill stood a house that seemed built from a time long past. Here lived Granny Helen, an elderly woman who had been alone for many years. Her only company was her overgrown garden and her quiet memories. But Granny didn't know it. She was watched over by a being with a golden heart, Ranger. Ranger was a stray, a large dog with coffee-colored fur and seemingly sorrowful eyes. He never approached people. He was content, living beneath the massive acacia tree at the end of the road. One day, the rain poured heavily. Ranger saw Granny Helen. The old woman slipped while walking, sending her basket of fruit tumbling onto the wet ground. Instead of running away, the dog known for his aloofness suddenly approached. Not to beg for food, but to offer himself as support. "Where did you come from?" Ranger didn't answer, of course, but he gently followed Granny Helen all the way to her front door. From then on, he never left. At night, he slept on the veranda. In the morning, his first action was to check if Granny was safe to step outside. Granny Helen never let Ranger inside the house. Not because she didn't want him, but because she believed he was happier outside. But Ranger's love didn't seek favor or a door. It sought peace. One evening, Granny Helen was startled by a large snake that had entered the garden. The old woman was terrified and frozen in fear. In a blink, Ranger burst forward, barking fiercely, and confronted the snake. He was driven not by anger, but by the pure intention to protect his elder. Ranger chased the snake away, but not before he was bitten. Granny Helen cried out, "Ranger, why did you do that? Oh, please be strong, my grandson." For the first time, Ranger entered the house. Granny Helen was consumed with worry and tended to him all night, applying medicine to his wound and gently stroking his head. The warmth of the old woman's hand seemed more potent than any herb in her garden. When Ranger recovered, Granny Helen knew they would never be apart. The purest love she found was no longer just in her garden, but inside the door that Ranger had opened for himself. Years passed, Ranger was no longer just a dog. He was Granny Helen's only family. He became the guard of her every step, a shadow of loyalty. As Granny Helen grew older, her affection deepened. One night, as Granny was frail and weak, she whispered to Ranger, who was resting at her feet, "Ranger, I know the time is near, but don't worry, you gave me the most beautiful final chapter of my life. You didn't guard me from the outside, you guarded me with your love." When the heavens finally called for Granny Helen, Ranger did not bark or cry. He waited silently by the door. And when Granny's family finally arrived, the only lasting memory of the old woman was Ranger, the living proof of pure, unconditional love. Granny Helen's grandchildren took Ranger back to the city. But every time the dog walked in a garden, he searched for the scent of tea and the warm touch of the old woman. Ranger became a reminder to everyone. The truest love doesn't ask for a title or kinship. It only offers hope and protection to anyone who needs it, without condition.